You ever have one of those moments where a stranger says something so creepy, so out of pocket, that it freezes your whole damn soul? Yeah, that was me. And if I'm being real with you, that random woman didn't just freak me out, she straight up saved my life. I was heading out of Walmart, holding one of those flimsy plastic bags that always feel like they're one sneeze away from snapping. It was supposed to be a normal Wednesday, the kind of boring, nothing to see here day where you buy detergent, maybe some snacks, and complain about gas prices. The parking lot was packed. People yelling on phones, a baby screaming in a stroller, some dude pushing a cart so aggressively it looked like he had beef with it. Just regular chaos. I was halfway to my car when she stepped out. This old woman, maybe late 70s, maybe older, wearing a faded pink sweater and holding a purse like she was guarding national secrets. Her white hair was tied back in a loose bun that looked like it survived several hurricanes, and her eyes, man, her eyes were sharp, like she could see through me. She walked straight toward me with zero hesitation. I thought she was going to ask for directions or maybe tell me I'd dropped something. I even gave her that polite half smile we all give strangers so they don't think we're complete jerks. But instead, she leaned in way too close. Like, way too close. And in this shaky, breathy voice, she said, "Honey, don't go home today." Just like that, right in my face, no context. No explanation, no, "Hi, how are you?" Nothing. I froze. I mean, what the hell do you even say to that? I blinked, stepped back a little, and laughed awkwardly, because my brain was trying to file this moment into the normal human interaction folder, which it absolutely did not belong in. I'm sorry, what? Her hand, wrinkled, cold, kind of trembling, gripped my wrist. Hard. She looked around like someone was watching us, then whispered, "Please, don't go home. Not today." Her voice cracked at the end. My stomach dropped. And in that instant, it didn't feel like she was being dramatic or weird or confused. It felt like she knew something. Something specific. Something bad. I tried to pull my hand back, but she held on. "Honey, promise me," she said. "Promise you won't go home." "But why?" I asked. "Did something happen?" She shook her head. "I just know," she whispered. "It's not safe today." Her eyes were glossy. Not like she was sick or confused, more like she was terrified for me. I looked around again, expecting maybe a hidden camera crew to pop out, like this was some YouTube prank channel about to go viral. Nothing. Just cars and people and grocery carts. She finally let go of my wrist, pressed her lips together, and said, "Please, listen to me." Then she turned around and walked away. Not rushed, not panicked, just slowly, calmly, like she had done everything she could and the rest was up to me. I stood there in the middle of the parking lot like an idiot, trying to process what just happened. My mind was spiraling with questions. Was she confused? Was she mentally ill? Was she psychic? Was this some prank? Was she mixing me up with someone else? Did she know something about my house? Or was she warning me about me? Strangers don't say stuff like that for no reason, right? I checked the time. 5:42 p.m. My house was only 15 minutes away. My evening plan was literally to go home, eat leftover wings, and watch random documentaries on Netflix until I passed out. Nothing dangerous, nothing unusual. But as I walked to my car, her words wouldn't stop echoing in my head. "Don't go home today." I sat in the driver's seat, shut the door, and just stared at the steering wheel for a full minute. Was I really about to change my entire day because a random old woman told me to? Like, who even does that? But here's the thing. You ever get that gut feeling that's so strong it's basically screaming at you? Yeah, that was me. Something in my chest felt tight, heavy, like something was wrong and I didn't know what. I turned the engine on, but didn't move. I kept imagining pulling into my driveway and something horrible happening, like a break-in, a fire, a gas leak, something. But that didn't make sense. My neighborhood was boring in the worst way. Nothing ever happened there. The most exciting event of the year was when my neighbor's dog wore a Halloween costume. But still, that damn woman. I picked up my phone and did something I hadn't done since high school. I called my mom. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, sweetie, you okay?" "I think so," I said. "Can I maybe come over for dinner?" "You want dinner? From me? Are you dying?" She joked. "Mom," I said, serious this time. "I'm not going home today. Is that okay?" She paused. Then she softened. "Of course it's okay. Come over." I didn't tell her why. Because how exactly do you explain? "Hey, Mom, some Walmart grandma told me not to go home because apparently I might die." "Yeah, no." I pulled out of the parking lot and started driving toward her house. But the whole way there, I kept looking at my rearview mirror, checking every street, every intersection, every car behind me. Paranoia had me in a chokehold. And that's when I noticed something weird in my mirror. A car. Black sedan. Tinted windows. Behind me the entire time. At first, I brushed it off. It's a busy road. Cars follow each other all the time. But then I turned right. So did the sedan. I turned left at the next light. So did the sedan. I changed lanes. So did the sedan. My heart started pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. Okay, maybe it was coincidence. Maybe I was overthinking it because of the old lady. But then the car behind me sped up just a little, like they were trying to keep the same distance. Not too close, not too far, just watching. My hands went sweaty on the steering wheel. "Okay, relax," I whispered to myself. "You're being dramatic," but my gut said otherwise. I didn't go straight to my mom's house. Instead, I made a sharp right into a random neighborhood. Quiet streets, big houses, manicured lawns, the kind of place where people jog at 6 a.m. for fun. The black sedan turned in too. That was it. My stomach flipped. This wasn't paranoia. Someone was following me. I didn't stop driving, didn't slow down. I made another turn, then another, weaving through the neighborhood like I was trying to shake someone in a movie. But they stayed behind me. Every turn, every street, every move. I wasn't imagining it. Something was wrong. Something bad. I pulled out my phone and, with shaking hands, opened my mom's contact again, but I didn't call her. Instead, I hit 911. I didn't even think. It was pure instinct, pure panic. My voice cracked when I talked to the operator. "Someone's following me," I said. Please, I don't know what's going on." They told me to stay on the line, keep driving, and head toward a public area, somewhere crowded. I sped out of the neighborhood, heart racing, and took a turn into a busy shopping center with bright lights and people everywhere. The moment I pulled into the parking lot, the black sedan slowed down and kept going. Drove right past the entrance and disappeared onto the road like nothing happened. No plates I could read, no faces, no clue who they were. The operator stayed on the phone until I calmed down, then told me to call back if anything else happened. I thanked her, hung up, and sat there with my hands still shaking. I should have gone home. That was the plan. But if I had, would that black sedan have followed me into my driveway? Waited outside my house? Broken in? Something tightened in my chest. Suddenly, the old woman's voice felt less creepy and more like protection, a warning I didn't understand, not yet. I stayed parked for a while, trying to breathe normally again. Eventually, I texted my mom that I was on my way, then drove there. Slowly this time, checking my mirrors every few seconds. No one followed me. No black sedan. Nothing. Just a quiet drive. But my mind wouldn't stop replaying everything. The old woman's eyes, her shaking voice, the way she said, "Not safe today." When I got to my mom's house, she hugged me at the door like she could see the stress all over my face. "You okay?" she asked. Yeah, I lied. Just had a weird day. And for a while, eating dinner, talking, watching TV with her, things felt normal again. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Because that woman didn't tell me why I shouldn't go home. And what happened next proved she was right. If I told you the night was quiet, I'd be lying. Because the moment I stepped into my mom's house, something in the air felt wrong. Like the universe was holding its breath, waiting for something to explode. Let me tell you something about my mom's house. It's small, cozy, smells like cinnamon candles 24/7, and has at least one decorative sign in every room saying something like, "Live, laugh, love," or "Bless this home." You know, classic mom decor. Normally, the house feels warm. But that night, the warmth felt fake. Forced. Like someone turned on a heater in a haunted house just to make you feel safe. My mom was joking around, talking about how she burned toast again that morning, but I couldn't focus. My brain kept replaying that woman's voice. "Honey, don't go home today." Every time it echoed in my mind, my heart kicked up again. Mom finally noticed I wasn't myself. "You're awfully quiet," she said, giving me that suspicious mom look. "You sure everything's okay?" Yeah, I lied. Just tired. She didn't buy it, but she also didn't push. Dinner was meatloaf, her favorite, not mine, but I ate it anyway. We watched some dumb reality show where people judge each other's homes like they're experts, even though half of them have plastic plants and mismatched furniture. For a moment, I thought maybe I really was overreacting. Maybe the old lady was just confused. Maybe the black sedan was just a coincidence. Maybe I was being dramatic. But then, 9:17 p.m., my phone buzzed. At first, I ignored it, but when it buzzed again and again, I finally picked it up. Unknown number, 3 missed calls, 1 voicemail. A chill crawled up my spine. Something was off. I stepped into the hallway and pressed play. At first, all I heard was static, soft, broken, like wind blowing across the mic. Then a voice, faint, male, deep. But I couldn't make out the words because the audio kept glitching, cutting in and out. Then, clear as day, I heard one full sentence. "Why the hell isn't he home?" My heart nearly stopped. I replayed it. Same thing, same sentence. Why the hell isn't he home? My blood went cold. That wasn't a scam call. That wasn't a wrong number. That was someone angry. Someone who expected me to be at my house. Someone who was waiting. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. I walked back to the living room, but I must have looked pale because my mom immediately sat up straight. What happened? I didn't want to scare her. I didn't want her involved. So I said the safest half-truth I could think of. "I think someone tried to break into my house." Her whole face changed. "Mio, what? Did you call the police?" "Yeah," I said quickly. "I'm handling it." She grabbed my hand, squeezing it like I was 10 years old again. "You're staying here tonight," she said. "No arguments." Honestly, I was relieved, but I couldn't stop thinking. Who was that voice? How did they get my number? And what the hell were they doing at my house? I kept checking outside the window every few minutes. I kept replaying the voicemail. I kept hearing that woman's whisper, "It's not safe today." And damn, she was so right it hurt. Around midnight, I finally tried to sleep. My mom gave me the old guest room, twin bed, creaky frame, blanket that smells like lavender detergent. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, listening to every creak, every car outside, every shift of the house. Sleep didn't come. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the old woman's face, her trembling hand, the black sedan, the voicemail. Then, around 1:30 a.m., bang, loud, from outside. I shot up in bed. My heart slammed against my ribs like it wanted to escape. Another bang, this time closer, like someone knocking something over or slamming something shut. I quietly got out of bed and tiptoed to the window. Outside was dark, empty, still, but the noise wasn't in my head. Then I heard it again. Not a bang this time, a scratch. Slow, dragging, like metal scraping against concrete. And it wasn't coming from the street. It was coming from the side of the house, right under the window. I felt sweat drip down my neck. I slowly pulled back the curtain an inch, just enough to see, and my stomach dropped. There was a figure standing near my mom's driveway, tall, hooded, still as a damn statue. No movement, no sound, just watching the house, looking toward the windows, checking the doors, scanning like they were making sure someone was inside, or not inside. I stepped back from the window so fast I nearly tripped. My breathing was loud, too loud. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911 again, whispering to the operator that someone was outside the house. She told me to stay hidden, stay quiet, stay inside. I peeked again, just a tiny bit. The figure moved, slowly, deliberately, toward the backyard gate, toward the back of the house, toward the side where my window was. I tried not to make a sound, not even breathe too hard. Then, my mom's hallway light flicked on. She stepped out of her room, yawning, rubbing her eyes, completely unaware someone was creeping around her house. I rushed toward her and put a finger over her mouth before she could talk. She froze. I whispered, "Someone's outside." Her face drained of color. She nodded silently. We both stayed in the hallway, listening. Footsteps, slow, crunching on gravel, right outside the wall. Mom grabbed her phone and called the neighbor, who's a retired sheriff. 2 minutes later, the longest 2 minutes of my life, we heard a loud voice from outside. "Hey, who's out there?" Our neighbor, flashlight beam sweeping the yard. The footsteps stopped, silence. Then, running, fast, heavy. Whoever was outside sprinted away, cutting through bushes, jumping fences, disappearing into the dark. My neighbor chased, but they were gone. Just gone. Police showed up 10 minutes later. They checked everything, the backyard, the gate, the windows, and then they found something near the side of the house, in the dirt. Footprints, big ones, deep ones, fresh, and not from any of us. The officer asked me if I knew anyone who might be trying to find me. I didn't know what to say. How do you explain any of this without sounding insane? Finally, one officer looked at me and said, "You're lucky you weren't home tonight." When he said that, my whole body went cold. I didn't tell him about the old woman. I didn't tell him about the black sedan. I didn't tell him about the voicemail. But one thing was clear. Someone was hunting me, and that woman, that random old lady in Walmart, kept me alive long enough to figure out why. Because the next morning, I got the final piece of the puzzle. And it was worse than anything I imagined. You ever wake up with that punch and then a gut feeling, like the world's about to drop something ugly in your lap? Yeah, that was me the next morning. And trust me, I wasn't even close to ready for what I was about to find out. Sunlight was barely creeping through my mom's kitchen curtains when I walked in. The house was quiet, way too quiet for a place where my mom usually blasts gospel music while making breakfast. She was sitting at the table, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee, staring at nothing. No jokes, no small talk. Just this heavy silence between us. She looked up when I walked in. "You didn't sleep either?" she asked softly. I shook my head. Not even a minute. We both knew why. Someone had been outside the house last night. Someone who wasn't just passing through. Someone who waited, watched, moved with purpose. And the cops couldn't find them. Mom pushed a plate toward me, pancakes that were already cold. "I made you breakfast," she whispered. Well, tried. I sat down but didn't touch the food. My stomach felt like it was tied in 20 different knots. Before either of us could say anything else, my phone buzzed. A text message from my security camera app. The subject line, "Motion detected, 2:58 a.m. My heart stopped. The notification was from my house, the place I didn't go home to last night. "Open it," my mom said. I didn't want to. but I had to. I tapped the alert. The video loaded. At first, it was just darkness, a vague outline of my driveway, the walkway, the faint outline of my front door. Then, like something crawling out of a nightmare, a shadow moved into frame. Tall, broad shoulders, hood pulled low, the same build as the person outside my mom's house. My breath hitched. He walked up to my front door slowly, like he already knew I wasn't home, like he wasn't in a rush. Then he leaned down and placed something on the welcome mat, a small object, square, dark. And then, without hesitation, he turned toward the camera, not by accident, like he wanted me to see. His face wasn't visible, too dark, too shadowed, but he lifted his hand and pointed directly at the lens, not waving, not hiding, pointing at me, right through the screen. Then he walked away, vanishing into the dark like he melted into it. The video ended. Before I could breathe, another notification popped up. Motion detected, 3:07 a.m. Jesus Christ, I whispered. I opened the second clip. This time, the figure wasn't at the door. He was standing at the edge of my driveway, staring at my house, not moving, not blinking, just staring for almost 30 whole seconds. Then he stepped backward into the shadows and disappeared. I dropped the phone on the table like it burned me. My mom covered her mouth with her hand. "This is not normal," she whispered. "Yeah," I said. "No kidding." I called the police again, showed them the footage. They said they'd send someone to check my house, but with no face, no car, no plates, they didn't have much to go on. And that's when the cop said the same words from last night. "You're lucky you weren't home." It didn't feel like luck anymore. It felt like a setup. It felt like someone wanted me cornered. And that old woman, that random stranger, she knew something would happen. But how? Before I could spiral too hard, my phone buzzed again. A voicemail. Same unknown number from last night. My stomach knotted as I pressed play. This time, the audio was clearer. No static, no glitches, just a man's voice. Calm, cold, calculating. "You should have been home." Just one sentence. That was it. I felt sick. The kind of sick that crawls into your bones. Mom grabbed my arm. "You're not going anywhere alone." "I'm not going anywhere at all," I said. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but there were only two possibilities. Someone had the wrong guy, or someone had the right guy. And I just didn't know why. Either way, I needed answers. And the only person who gave me even a piece of the puzzle was that old woman, the one who told me not to go home. The one who saved my life. I had no idea who she was, but I knew where I saw her. Walmart. So around 10 a.m. I drove there with my mom. She insisted on coming. She wasn't letting me out of her sight. The whole drive, I kept glancing at the mirrors. No black sedans, no suspicious cars. But that didn't make me feel safer. When we walked into Walmart, everything looked normal. People buying cheap cereal, kids begging for toys, employees pretending they were busy so customers wouldn't ask for help. Normal. But something in my gut said, she's here. Or at least, someone knows her. We went straight to customer service. A younger girl with purple braids and an attitude that said she'd rather be anywhere else looked up. "Hey, how can I help you?" She blinked. "You just described like half our senior shoppers." "Please," I said, voice dropping. She talked to me. "I really need to find her." Something in my tone must have gotten through because she sighed, picked up the store phone, and made an announcement. If anyone's missing their elderly mom or grandma in a pink sweater, can you come to the front? Someone's looking for her." I winced. Not exactly what I meant, but fine. We waited. 5 minutes. 10. Nothing. No one came. I was about to give up when a voice behind us said, "You looking for a lady in a pink sweater?" I turned around. It was an older employee, maybe in his 60s, sweeping the floor slowly. "Yes," I said quickly. "Do you know her?" He scratched his beard. She comes in sometimes. Sweet lady. Real quiet. My pulse jumped. Do you know her name? He shrugged. No idea. But she usually comes in early mornings. Walks around the bakery aisle. Sometimes sits in the little cafe area with tea. Do you know where she lives? He gave me a weird look. No, son, I just clean floors here. But then he added, she was here yesterday morning, real early. Looked upset. Upset how? I asked, shaky, nervous. Kept checking the doors, like she was waiting for someone. My heart pounded harder. That tracks. That's exactly how she looked when she spoke to me. The employee lowered his voice. Before she left, she asked one of the cashiers if anyone had been asking for her. Who? I asked. He shrugged again. No idea. But she seemed scared. Scared? Of who? Of what? I thanked him, and Mom and I walked to the cafe area he mentioned. It was empty, except for a teenager eating fries at 10 in the morning. But then Mom pointed at something on a nearby table. Look! A napkin. Crumpled, but with handwriting scribbled across it. In messy, shaky pen strokes. Not safe. Watch the driveway. My heart slammed into my ribs. Mom picked it up carefully. Her face turned pale. You think she left this? Who else would? I whispered. I took the napkin, hands trembling, flipping it over in case there was more. There was a single, shaky sentence. Don't trust the man with the deep voice. I swear my blood turned ice. The voicemail. The voice outside my house. The message. You should have been home. It was the same tone, the same coldness. She knew about him. She was warning me before I even knew I needed warning. But why? Before I could think, Mom tugged my sleeve. Look, she whispered. Down the aisle, at the far end of the store. The old woman. Pink sweater, white bun, same sharp eyes as yesterday, standing still, watching me, like she'd been waiting for me the whole time. She didn't blink, didn't smile, didn't move. Just stared. My heart kicked into a sprint. I took one step toward her. Ma'am, I called out. Wait! She raised her hand slightly, not waving, almost like telling me to stop. Then, before I could reach her, she turned and walked away. Fast. Faster than someone her age should have been able to move. I chased her. Down the aisle, around the corner, past the bakery section. But when I turned the next corner, she was gone. Completely gone. Like she vanished into thin air. Mom caught up, breathless. Where'd she go? I don't know. I whispered, scanning every aisle. She couldn't have gotten far. She couldn't have moved that quickly. Unless she knew exactly where to hide. Unless she'd done this before. I was turning to check another aisle when something caught my eye. On the floor. Near the end of a shelf, a small piece of paper, folded. I bent down, picked it up, and opened it. Inside was a message written in the same shaky handwriting. Only 2 words. 2 words that made my knees weak. He's close. The moment I stepped inside my house, I felt it. That heavy, wrong silence. Like the walls knew something I didn't. Like the air itself was waiting for me to make the next move. Or the last one. I pushed the door open slow, my heartbeat thumping loud enough to drown out every thought. You ever get that weird feeling, like your instincts are screaming something your brain hasn't figured out yet? Yeah, that was me, standing in my own damn living room, afraid of the house I'd lived in for years. The place was dark, not normal dark, heavy dark, like somebody had sucked all the warmth out of it. My keys jingled in my hand because my fingers were shaking. I didn't even turn on the lights right away. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't want to see whatever was waiting. Maybe I didn't want to confirm the feeling tightening in my chest. I whispered to myself, it's just your nerves. Chill. You're home. But the second the door clicked shut behind me, a cold shiver rolled from the back of my neck straight down my spine. The house wasn't just quiet. It was too quiet. Even the fridge, the loud, old, buzzing-ass fridge that I used to complain about, was silent. Dead silent. My phone buzzed once in my pocket. I jumped so hard I nearly threw it across the room. It was Daniel. Daniel, bro? Are you home? Daniel. Dude, do not go inside. I'm calling the cops RN. Daniel, I'm serious. Get out. My stomach dropped so fast it felt like I lost the floor under me. I hurried to type back, what the hell is going on? Before I could press send, something creaked upstairs. A slow, dragging floorboard groan. My thumb froze above the screen. I wasn't alone. I wasn't supposed to be home. The gym, the detour, the creepy woman's warning. All of that meant whoever was upstairs thought the house was empty. And now, they knew I was here. I could feel it. I swear I could feel their presence moving. Not loud, not fast, but steady. Purposeful. I took one step backward toward the front door. Just one. Then, thud. Not like something fell. Like someone dropped a boot heel straight onto the floor above the staircase. Heavy, deliberate. My breath caught in my throat. I didn't dare move. Not a single muscle. My brain kicked into that primal caveman survival mode. Don't run. Don't look. Don't make a sound. The house felt like it was holding its breath with me. Another step upstairs. Another. Slow. Steady. Getting closer to the top of the staircase, I took a shaky breath and prayed. I'm not even a religious dude, but yeah, I prayed. My phone buzzed again. I almost screamed. Daniel, cops are coming. Don't move. Daniel. Someone broke in. I swear, I saw him enter your backyard earlier. My mouth went dry, so this wasn't imagination. This wasn't paranoia. Somebody was actually inside my house. Someone dangerous enough for that random lady to warn me. Someone patient enough to wait in the dark for hours. Someone now walking straight toward the stairs like they could hear my heartbeat through the floor. I needed to get out. Right. Now. I slowly took another step backward. The wood floor under my foot let out the faintest, tiniest little squeak. And then, everything upstairs went silent. No shifting weight, no breathing, no creaking boards, nothing. Like whoever was up there froze, to listen. I could almost picture them, standing at the top of the stairs, head tilted, waiting, listening for exactly where I was. My chest tightened like someone was squeezing my ribs together. Then, in the most terrifying moment of my life, I heard it. Not footsteps, not breathing. A whisper. A low, raspy human whisper drifting down the staircase. I couldn't make out the words, but I heard the tone. They were talking to themselves, muttering, and it sounded angry. That was it. I wasn't dying in this house. I grabbed the doorknob and twisted, but the second the latch clicked, boom. A door upstairs slammed open so loud it shook dust from the ceiling. I didn't look, didn't think, didn't breathe. I ran, flung the front door open, and bolted outside so fast I nearly face-planted on the porch. I didn't stop until I reached my driveway. Didn't turn around. Didn't dare. Behind me, from inside the house, I heard footsteps fly down the staircase. Not slow anymore. Not quiet. Fast. Hard. Violent. I sprinted across the yard just as the front hallway light flicked on inside. Someone had turned it on. Someone standing right where I'd been seconds ago. My lungs were burning, but I kept running. I don't think I've ever moved faster in my life. I reached the street just as 2 squad cars whipped around the corner, sirens cutting through the dark like salvation itself. I collapsed on the curb, hands on my knees, gasping like I'd run a marathon. The cops jumped out immediately, guns drawn, shouting commands I barely registered. All I could do was point at the house and choke out, "He's inside! Someone's inside!" They stormed in. I watched from the street, heart slamming against my ribs, every nerve in my body buzzing like electricity. Seconds passed. Long, slow, torturous seconds. Then minutes. 3 cops went in. 2 more circled the back with flashlights. I sat there shaking, trying to make sense of the noise I'd heard. That whisper, that run, that presence. It felt unreal. Like my fear had been dialed up so high nothing made sense anymore. Finally, after what felt like forever, one cop walked out through the front door and shook his head. No one inside. Not a damn soul. House is empty. Empty. Tch. My eyes widened. My mouth fell open. No. Man, someone was in there. Upstairs. Chasing me, I heard. We checked every room, the officer said calmly. Closets, attic, basement. Nothing. I looked at the house, at the open door, the lights, the silence, and for the first time something new crept into my fear. Confusion. Was I losing my mind? Was the fear messing with me? Did I imagine the footsteps, the whispers, the run? No freaking way. I'm not crazy. I know what I heard, what I felt. The random woman had warned me. Daniel saw someone. I heard someone. So where the hell did they go? One officer walked over to me, lowering his voice. Look, you're shaken up. Happens. But if someone was really in there, they didn't leave through any doors or windows. Nothing's broken. Nothing forced open. No footprints. No signs of entry or exit. His voice softened. You're safe now. Safe? I didn't feel safe, not even close. But the cops began clearing out, leaving only yellow tape across the door and a warning to stay with a friend for the night. I didn't argue. Daniel pulled up 5 minutes later, eyes wide with worry. Bro, what happened? Why do you look like you saw a demon? I sat in his car, staring at my house, the lights still on inside. I swallowed hard. I think. Someone was waiting for me. Daniel didn't speak. He just stared forward, his jaw tightening. Then he said something that chilled me way deeper than the footsteps ever did. Dude, that woman who warned you? I don't think she was random. I turned to him slowly. What do you mean? He hesitated. I've seen her before. He looked dead serious. At your house. My heart stopped. Everything inside me froze like ice. The night wasn't over. Not even close. When Daniel told me he'd seen that woman at my house before, my stomach dropped so hard it felt like the earth tilted beneath me. Because if she wasn't random, then she wasn't warning me. She was protecting me from something she already knew was coming. I stared at him, completely frozen. What do you mean you've seen her at my house? That woman? The same lady who told me not to go home? Daniel didn't speak for a few seconds. He just rubbed his palms on his jeans like he didn't know how to explain what he'd seen. Then he said quietly, Dude, I think she was watching your house. For days. A shiver crawled up the back of my neck. Watching it for what, Dan? He swallowed. For whoever broke in tonight. My brain wouldn't process that. It didn't even sound real. So someone had been watching my house. And someone else had been inside my house. But they weren't the same person. The woman warned me. The intruder was waiting for me. 2 dangers. 2 mysteries. Except one of them saved my life. I ran a hand through my hair. Bro, this doesn't make any sense. Daniel sighed. It will. I think you need to see something first. He reached into his glove compartment and pulled out his phone, scrolled, opened his photos, then handed it to me. Look at this. On his screen was a picture he took 2 nights ago. A wide shot of my street from his car. He'd parked there waiting for me to get home after basketball practice. I never even knew he took this pic. And there she was, the woman, standing across the street, facing my house, not moving. Like a guard, like a lookout, my chest tightened. The picture was grainy because it was taken at night, but her silhouette was unmistakable. Why didn't you tell me this before? I asked. Daniel sighed. Because I wasn't sure if she was just some neighbor or what. And honestly, I didn't want you freaking out for no reason. I shook my head slowly. There was a reason. He didn't argue. We drove back to the house. I didn't want to, but I needed answers. The cops had left the lights on inside. The yellow tape rippled in the cold breeze. My house suddenly felt like a crime scene from a Netflix docuseries. Daniel put his hand on my shoulder. You sure you want to go in? No, absolutely not. But I nodded anyway. We ducked under the tape and stepped inside. Daniel held his phone flashlight out in front of us. The house looked normal again. Too normal. Like nothing had happened at all. No signs of struggle, no broken glass, no footprints. Nothing moved. It was almost worse this way. I walked into the living room where I'd felt that cold silence earlier. It still felt off, like the air was thicker than it should be. Daniel walked toward the base of the stairs. That's when he stopped. Dude, come here. My stomach dropped. I walked over and he pointed his flashlight at something on the floor, something I never noticed before. A single footprint, a bare footprint, dark, dusty. Smudged on the wood like someone stepped there with a dirty, naked foot. But that wasn't the worst part. The footprint was facing the stairs. Like they weren't coming down, they were going up. Daniel whispered, "Tell me you didn't walk around barefoot today." I shook my head slowly. No, no way. A chill washed over me. Someone was here. Someone real. But then, where did they go? I looked up the staircase slowly. Every part of me screaming, "Don't go up there!" But something stronger pushing me forward. "I'm checking my room," I muttered. Daniel grabbed my arm. "Bro, hell no. I need to." I walked up the stairs, one creaky step at a time. Daniel stayed right behind me. At the top, the hallway stretched ahead, dark and silent. My bedroom door was wide open, not halfway, not cracked, wide, as if someone had run out of it. I stepped inside. Nothing looked disturbed. Not my bed, not my desk, not my shelves. Everything was exactly how I left it. But the cold air, the heaviness in the room, it was stronger here. Like whoever had been here spent a long time waiting. Daniel took a few steps toward my closet. "Should we check?" Before he finished his sentence, he froze. His flashlight beam landed on something on the floor. Another footprint. This one was smaller, wider at the toes, and smudged as if the person was turning around fast. Maybe when they heard me enter the house earlier. My heart hammered in my ears. "This is insane," I whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. "Bro, whoever was in your house, they weren't wearing shoes, and they weren't rushed. They were waiting, felt sick, waiting for me, before I could respond." We heard the floorboard behind us creak. We both spun around. No one was there, but the air felt wrong, like the house itself inhaled sharply. Daniel whispered, "That wasn't us." Then we heard the front door. Not opening, not closing, just knocking. 3 slow knocks. Right on the door of the house the cops had just cleared. We locked eyes. Daniel whispered, "She's back." I rushed downstairs so fast I almost tripped. Ran straight to the window by the door. I lifted the curtain, and there she was. The same woman from the gas station. The same woman from the picture. The same woman who saved my life. But this time, she wasn't calm. She wasn't gentle. Her face was pale, panicked. She kept glancing over her shoulder like she was scared someone followed her. I opened the door. She grabbed my wrist so hard it hurt. "You didn't listen," she whispered. "You shouldn't be here. He's not gone." My throat tightened. "Who is he?" I asked. "Who's inside my house?" She looked me dead in the eyes. "You won't believe me. Try me." She swallowed hard. Then spoke the 6 words that changed everything I thought I knew. "He used to live here too." My heart dropped. Daniel stepped beside me. "Lady, what are you talking about?" She pointed inside the house. The man who waited for you. He lived here before you moved in. He died in this house." Daniel's eyes widened. "You're telling us?" "Yes," she whispered. "His spirit never left." My voice cracked. "What does he want with me?" She didn't blink. "He thinks you're the one who killed him." Goosebumps shot up both my arms. "What? I didn't even know him." "I know," she said softly. "That's why I've been watching, trying to stop him from hurting you." Daniel stepped forward. "How the hell do you know all this?" That's when she did something I'll never forget. She reached into her coat pocket, pulled out a small old photograph, and placed it in my hand. A picture of her, standing next to a man. A man with dark eyes, heavy expression, no smile, the same build, the same posture. My blood ran cold. "This was my son," she said. "He died in that house 10 years ago. He never moved on. He stayed angry. He stayed confused. And tonight, he thought you were the one who took his life." My throat tightened. "I swear I didn't." She squeezed my hands gently. "I know you didn't, but he doesn't understand death anymore. He only understands what he felt when he died," Daniel whispered. "And what did he feel?" She looked past us, into the dark hallway behind me. "Fear," she said quietly, "and betrayal." I felt something cold slide across the back of my neck, like a fingertip. I spun around. Nothing. The woman stepped back. "You can't stay here," she whispered. "Not tonight. Not ever. He's claimed this house as his. If you stay, he'll finish what he thinks you started." Daniel grabbed my arm. "We're leaving. Now." I looked at the woman. "What do I do about him?" She shook her head slowly. "Pray for him, but don't come back." Then she added, almost whispering, "And if you ever hear footsteps again, don't go upstairs." A cold wind swept through the doorway. When I looked back to ask another question, she was gone. Vanished into the darkness like she was never there. Epilogue short ending note. I never went back to that house, not even to pack. My relatives collected my stuff for me in daylight. They said the house felt heavy. They said they heard faint knocking upstairs. The landlord didn't argue when I ended my lease early. Daniel never parked on that street again. And me? I sleep with lights on now every night because sometimes, when the house gets too quiet, I swear I can still hear bare feet walking slowly across a wooden floor.